Hey guys, what is going on? I hope you're all having a great day today. I definitely am because today is one of those days where we get to go ahead and make a classic style YouTube response video. It has been like over a month since I have made one of these type of videos, and it is definitely nice to be back. It's especially nice to be back to making this style of video because we are once again getting the opportunity to respond to the biggest Nintendo fanboy on all of YouTube, that being Harmon Smith. Since it has been a while since I have talked about Harmon Smith, and I realize that not all of you in my audience may know who he is, I know most of you probably do. Harmon Smith is basically this Nintendo fanboy who has been on this basically mission to defend Nintendo for as long as I remember. Like, this dude has been white knighting, meat riding, taint licking, whatever you want to call it, Nintendo since before I started even making commentary videos. This dude has been doing this shit since like 2019. I'll just go over 3 takes that he has made that perfectly encapsulate the type of person that Harmon Smith is. Harmon Smith once made a claim that the Series X, PS5, and PC are simply overpowered, and that's why the Switch is better. Harmon Smith has made a video claiming that the hell in Metroid is more scary than Doom, to try to shit on the Doom games. Harmon Smith has also made a video claiming that Switch gaming is superior to PC gaming. That is the type of person we are talking about when I say Harmon Smith, Nintendo's biggest fanboy. Harmon Smith is just basically someone who gets insecure whenever anything non-Nintendo releases because he feels like it's going to undermine Nintendo's success, when that is obviously not the case, and multiple projects in the gaming industry can coexist and both be successful. Anyway, we are over 2 minutes into this video, and we're still on the introduction, so I need to stop yapping and actually get into the meat and potatoes. The title of today's video that we're going to be responding to is Metroid Prime 4 has outsold Grand Theft Auto 6, and you can see the thumbnail here. This thumbnail looks nothing like Grand Theft Auto. This thumbnail looks like fucking Far Cry. It looks like an AI generated thumbnail. And you can see he has his little text on top saying GTA 6 equals dead. Which, obviously, Grand Theft Auto 6 is not dead. It is the most hyped up game in the gaming industry right now. Even people that I know that don't really give a shit about gaming anymore, even they're excited for GTA 6. This game has a stranglehold on the industry. It's also worth noting that Grand Theft Auto 5, I remember reading an article about it like 6 to 7 years ago, saying that it was the highest grossing media of all time. Like, the game made more money than anything, like any movie, any video game, any album, anything like that. So, yeah, GTA 6, the sequel to that game, is also likely to be very, very, very successful. Anyway, let's just go ahead and play the video.
This is a list of the best-selling titles on Amazon.
Alright, I hate to cut this guy off so early without letting him at least attempt to make a point, but this video's resolution is not my video downloader, it's not my computer, it's nothing like that. This guy unironically decided to upload this YouTube video in 240p in 2026. I just find it hilarious that Harmon Smith is someone who's willing to go out and buy a Shure microphone. Those microphones are like $400. He's willing to go out and buy like a super great microphone, but yet he can't bother to do any proper audio mixing or even upload his videos in a higher resolution than 240p. Like, at that point, why even try with YouTube?
I want you to look at this list. I want you to take it in. I want you to think about how this is a real list that absolutely does exist, that represents the current state of the gaming industry.
Does it really represent the gaming industry, though? I mean, when I decided to look this up for myself, I couldn't even find the exact list that he's talking about. Also, we do know that most of the sales in the gaming industry nowadays are digital instead of physical, so showing physical media sales on Amazon, one storefront, is not really representative of the overall gaming industry. You can also see Lost Soul Aside there at number 4. From what I remember, that game was a huge bomb. Also, another very important thing to note is the fact that GTA 6's physical copy isn't an actual physical copy. There's no disc in the box when you buy a quote-unquote physical edition of Grand Theft Auto 6. You're just getting a code to download. So why even bother pre-ordering a physical version of a game at that point? Why not just download it off the store? Little side tangent, but I will never understand the appeal of going out of your way to get a physical copy of a game just to get a stupid code in a box that you then have to go and download. Like, it's just so dumb. And I had a coworker actually complain about this. He told me he went and bought a physical version of a game and he just had a code in a box. And this is someone who's not really in the know about the current gaming industry, but even he thought it was the stupidest shit in the world.
Star Fox has outsold Grand Theft Auto 6. Metroid Prime 4 has outsold Grand Theft Auto 6.
This is just such a disingenuous comparison. Why are we comparing Star Fox and Metroid Prime 4's sales, two games that are already out, to Grand Theft Auto 6's pre-orders, not out? And it's also once again worth noting the fact that the Nintendo games are actual true physical media, giving more of a reason for people to actually go out and buy the physical copy. And once again, comparing game sales on one storefront. There is no other word to describe what I am hearing right now other than just midwittery at its finest.
Essentially, what we have seen is just a complete collapse of the narrative. We went into this thinking that Grand Theft Auto 6 was going to sell a bazillion units, that it would be the best-selling game of all time, that, I was seeing people saying it would outsell Minecraft. Okay, year one. Okay. People were saying this was going to be an industry-defining thing.
GTA 6 will absolutely be a industry-defining game. I mean, it already is. Everybody is hyped for it, even gaming normies. And other companies don't even want to release their game around the same time as it because they realize that GTA 6 will likely cannibalize every other game's sales that comes out near it.
That this would be huge news, that this would be a huge deal, and yet what we're seeing instead is that it's getting outperformed by Star Fox and it's getting outperformed by Metroid Prime 4. Now, never mind the fact that Metroid Prime 4 supposedly failed and didn't even sell a million units. We'll have to talk about that another day. But like, the narrative that Grand Theft Auto 6 was going to be like the Switch 2 killer is completely done.
Do you guys remember how at the beginning of the video I claimed that Harmon Smith gets insecure whenever something non-Nintendo releases because he feels like it's trying to undermine Nintendo's success? This is exactly what I'm talking about. This is not the first time that Harmon Smith has basically used this sort of argument that blank is trying to undermine the Switch 2, or blank is trying to undermine Nintendo, or blank is trying to undermine this unrelated Nintendo game. I genuinely don't understand how you can be insecure about other games coming out because Nintendo. Harmon has this very unhealthy parasocial relationship with Nintendo and all of their games. It's like his entire happiness comes in the fact that Nintendo is successful. If Nintendo does bad, his day is ruined. If Nintendo does good, his day is made. He needs to develop an actual personality outside of entertainment products. And while I sit here and I say this about Harmon Smith, the same could be said about a lot of people in today's world. A lot of people, their only personality and their only happiness comes from consumption of media, and I actually see this shit all the time when it comes to sports fans. Like, their favorite team will lose, and instead of sitting there and going, well, that sucks, I really wish they won. Oh well. They will actually spend the rest of the day fucking mad that their favorite team didn't win, and they'll sit there and they'll rant on Facebook and do all this other crap instead of just simply moving on with their day and realizing that all the players are getting paid regardless. Point being, Harmon and a lot of other people on this planet should develop actual personalities that are not tied to the success of their favorite shit.
Okay, because we're seeing going into this that Switch 2 games are doing very, very well. They're very, very popular. Games like Star Fox are huge hits. We're seeing games like Ocarina of Time get announced. We're seeing games like Splatoon Raiders, Rhythm Heaven. The list goes on and on, right? There's lots of different Nintendo games that are just killing it right now. Okay, that's not going to stop just because of Grand Theft Auto 6 coming out. Like I do think that's like the big takeaway here that we really do need to talk about is that like just because Grand Theft Auto 6 exists, that's not going to stop the Switch 2 success. This isn't 2000, okay? You're not going to have kids like freaking out over like, oh man, I can run around and I can kill people. Like it's not a new exciting thing anymore. Like Grand Theft Auto 6 at its core is just going to be more of the same. And that's not something you'll see anybody acknowledge. Like, I would argue that Star Fox on Nintendo Switch 2, which is a remake of Star Fox 64, that is a more clearly distinguishable thing than Grand Theft Auto 5 to Grand Theft Auto 6. Like, the way Grand Theft Auto 6 looks, it's the same thing we've always gotten. There's no innovation, there's no change. And anyone who's, like, halfway honest about it is aware that like this game took way too long to come out, that the audience has outgrown it, that like it's just not all that new or interesting anymore.
I just think it's super ironic that he is sitting here and disparaging GTA 6, saying it's more of the same, which, if we're gonna be honest, it probably is, but at the same time, hyping up literal remakes. And every time a new Mario sequel comes out, or a new Mario platformer, he is there to hype it up, even though that all the Mario games that come out are pretty similar. And I want to make something clear. I'm not really even against the idea of sequels or anything like that, but either all sequels are okay, or no sequels are okay. Either you like the idea of sequels that are similar to previous games, or you don't. You can't sit here and say it's okay for Mario to do it, but not Rockstar. That is the literal definition of hypocrisy. It's okay for Nintendo to release 9 Mario Kart games that are functionally all the same, but the second Grand Theft Auto 6 releases a 6th game, it's not okay.
Okay, you have a handful of people who think this game is going to be like a life-changing experience, but like it's very clear at this point to me that it's going to be a massive disappointment. Okay, and what we're seeing is like we're seeing way more realistic successes with Nintendo Switch. Okay, like you see something like Metroid Prime 4. Okay, like what was the problem with Metroid Prime 4? Okay, at its core, the problem was that it was a Metroid game. Okay, fundamentally, it's kind of niche. Fundamentally, it's too hard. Fundamentally, a lot of YouTubers came into this thinking it was like Nintendo's Halo and then got upset when it was nothing like that. Okay, like the problem with Metroid Prime has always been that it's just too hardcore for general audiences.
Way to misrepresent and avoid the actual problems with the game. Most of the people who hated on the game or criticized the game had issues with the fact that there were annoying NPCs that would not keep their mouths closed, and the fact that the game was open world. You claimed that people didn't like it or didn't appreciate it because it was a Metroid game, but I remember Metroid fans getting upset that it didn't feel like a traditional Metroid game. If you want to go watch a pretty entertaining video going over the problems with Metroid Prime 4, I would recommend going to Lord Frogmire's channel and checking out his video on the game.
Right, this is not like a problem unique to Prime 4. It's been a problem with Prime 2 and the original Prime as well. Like people like getting hyped up for Prime, thinking it was going to be some hardcore first-person shooter from Nintendo, and then getting filtered. Like that's been a thing since the very first game. Like this is nothing new or different. So you look at Metroid Prime 4 and you look at like the initial reaction where you had a lot of people coming out and trying to say it was bad or it was disappointing or that like it disrespected the Metroid IP. Not only is none of that true, we're seeing the game succeed in spite of the massive backlash. It was one of the most hated Switch 2 games of last year in that regard. There were all these weird controversies and narratives about it. So many people tried to say the game was bad or disappointing or that it wasn't very good. And like the reality of it was that it was pretty solid, right? I really liked the game. It was way better than Silk Song, right?
You can like the game, that's fine. There are games that are out there that are considered bad sequels and lesser games than their previous entries that I still like. But the large majority of Metroid fans do not think that Metroid Prime 4 is as good as previous entries. And Silk Song, like you liking the game better than Silk Song, means absolutely nothing. Personally, I like Doom the Dark Ages more than Silksong, but that means absolutely nothing to anybody besides me.
uh, Metroid Prime 4 has been a huge hit. And of course, Star Fox has been such a huge hit that like that's not even really worth disputing. But like my point is that these were games that were supposed to fail. Okay. Grand Theft Auto 6 was supposed to stomp everything else to the ground to the point where like everyone else was scared of releasing within a couple of months of it. But here we have a number of Nintendo Switch 2 games, games like Star Fox, games like Splatoon Raiders, games like Nintendo Switch Sports Resort, games like Ocarina of Time Remake, which are launching around the same time as Grand Theft Auto 6, that are going to do better than Grand Theft Auto 6, that are going to be played more than Grand Theft Auto 6, that we are seeing them launch around the same time and becoming successful.
It's a little bit different for a Nintendo game to come out around the same time as Grand Theft Auto 6 rather than something like Call of Duty that's on a PlayStation where GTA 6 is also coming out on a PlayStation. We know the Switch audience are primarily children. And if you know anything about Grand Theft Auto, you know it's not really marketed towards the 7-year-olds of the world, whereas Nintendo games are something much more suitable and much more advertised towards those types of people. Now, if a new Assassin's Creed or something released within a week of GTA 6, yeah, it would probably completely cannibalize the sales of the game.
Okay. Like the idea that Grand Theft Auto 6 was going to supersede everything else in the industry is just completely not true. And I think when this game actually comes out and people start playing it and they start realizing how overpriced everything is and how microtransaction laden it is, and like realizing how you have to pay for like GTA Online and realizing how stripped down all of it is from GTA 5, like what you're going to see is just this massive fall from grace. In like a lot of ways, I think it already happened with RDR2. Okay, people don't like admitting how bad RDR2 actually was, right? People don't like admitting that RDR2 was a complete disaster.
That is a really dumb take. I know tons of people, and the general gaming audience loves RDR2. Now, personally, if you ask me, I do think RDR1 is a better paced game, but RDR2 is considered a masterpiece by so many people. To sit here and claim that a game that most people consider a masterpiece as a disaster, while hyping up Metroid Prime 4, a game that is generally looked at as mid, is insane. It just shows that Harmon will absolutely slobber all over anything with the Nintendo logo on it.
The mission structure was completely railroaded. The story made no sense. It was like woke as shit with feminists, with like diversity.
I mean, can't that be said about every game, though, if you really dig deep enough? And this is the reason I don't really cover the culture war shit when it comes to stuff inside of games anymore, because there's a certain degree of it in every single game. It all just comes down to subtlety. Another reason I don't really cover it is because I realized how full of shit people are. Like, I remember a lot of the anti-woke channels sitting there and shitting on all these different games, calling them like woke garbage and all that kind of stuff, but as soon as Kingdom Come Deliverance 2 came out, they all sat there and praised it, even though that game had the same sort of stuff that these people claim to hate. I'm not gonna go over the specific examples that I'm talking about because I don't have all day, but you're free to research it on your own time, if you care enough to. I will say this though, when I played through Red Dead Redemption 2, I was like 16 at the time, I don't really remember anything standing out as like super woke or anything like that in the game. I remember enjoying my experience and not really being taken out of it at any point.
Like, Red Dead Redemption 2 was a complete and total joke. Okay. Not that like the audience would admit it, because, Red Dead 2 is just one of those games that people like desperately want it to be good. But we're going to see the same thing happen with Grand Theft Auto 5, Grand Theft Auto 6. And because Grand Theft Auto 6 is a more modern game, you're going to have a lot more people just like acknowledging the reality of what this game actually is. In that at its core, it's going to be the most woke, diversified, just degenerate video game ever produced.
Honestly, I doubt they will go too hard with that sort of shit because obviously there's a certain type of audience that Grand Theft Auto caters to. I think if anything, it'll just kind of be a parody game parodying American culture. Which, I mean, if you look at it, you claim that the game's gonna be degenerate, but if you're making a parody of degenerate culture, American culture, then obviously the game's gonna be degenerate. And before someone tries to comment, oh, you're Canadian, you're calling American culture degenerate, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, my culture's degenerate too. I don't care.
Like, I am certain that the team at Rockstar really genuinely believed that their brand was strong enough to go against the tide and push wokeness into culture. They really thought that they would be able to normalize woke culture by using Grand Theft Auto. But we've seen like the biggest brands in the world collapse because of wokeness. Stuff that's way bigger because of than GTA. Stuff like Star Wars, stuff like Disney in general, stuff like there's just TMNT. Like there's a lot of stuff that's way bigger than GTA that just have just completely fallen by the wayside because of these creative philosophies.
Well, yeah, they pushed it super hard and didn't pull back when they realized that the general audience was not cool with it. And obviously, companies like Rockstar watched that whole thing go down with Star Wars and franchises like that, and realized if they take the same sort of approach, it probably means brand death.
Because of the propaganda. And I feel like people are just not prepared for how quickly Grand Theft Auto 6 is going to be irrelevant. Because I keep seeing people do this thing where they're just like, oh yeah, they're going to put the game out and it's going to be a masterpiece. And they're going to keep releasing like free updates to keep the game played indefinitely while they work on Grand Theft Auto 7.
I definitely think that might be a possibility of them releasing the game and them releasing free updates until GTA 7, but I also do think they definitely will milk the player base a lot like they did with Grand Theft Auto 5 by making everything super overpriced in the online version of the game.
That's not going to happen. Okay? It's going to be like Cyberpunk 2077, right? Where the game comes out, it's broken, it's unfinished, there's like the game's a massive disappointment, and like Rockstar is going to be more interested in salvaging the game's reputation and gaslighting people into thinking it's good than they are in like actually fixing the game.
I don't know about that one. Rockstar games, for the most part, when they do come out, are pretty functional. I don't really remember any Rockstar games coming out that have been, like, absolute dog shit from a functionality standpoint, other than that GTA Remastered trilogy.
It's going to end up like, exactly like that, where they kill their golden goose, and then they have to, like, pivot and like try and bring it back with the next entry. And I think by that point, the entire industry will have moved on. Like the only reason people are hyped for this game is because they genuinely believe that this is going to save the video game industry and that this is going to normalize $100 games and that this is going to sell people on PlayStation and Xbox.
I definitely do not think that GTA 6 will quote-unquote save the industry or fix any of the problems with it. I think it'll actually exacerbate one of the problems, which that is, of course, $100 games. However, I do think GTA 6 will definitely play a huge part in helping the PlayStation 5 sales, because obviously GTA 6 is not coming out on PC at the same time that it is coming out on consoles, and the only two consoles the game is coming out for is the PlayStation 5 and the Xbox Series consoles. And let's be real, when it comes to Xbox, they are doing nothing but shooting themselves in the foot in terms of their console hardware division.
Like, it's just not going to happen. And I feel as if people really need to understand that. People need to know that Grand Theft Auto 6 is doomed to failure. It is not going to save the video game industry. It is not going to push the industry forward. It is not going to normalize $100 games. We are seeing the beginning of the end of Rockstar, and it all begins here with getting outsold by Metroid Prime 4 and Starbucks.
Anyway, that is his entire video that I just responded to. I don't usually respond to an entire Harmon Smith video, I usually cut out parts of it, but today I thought we'd respond to the whole thing. I don't really have anything else to add besides this is probably one of the stupidest videos I have watched in the past half a year or so. I'd like to thank all of you guys for taking the time out of your day to watch my video. I really do appreciate it, and I'd really appreciate it if you did enjoy this video to leave a like on the video or possibly even subscribe. If you didn't like the video, you can leave a dislike and a mean comment. Alright, that's it from me, guys. I'm out. Yo, I don't know how many of you guys are still here, but I just wanted to talk to you guys just very quickly for a little bit. I know most of you guys have clicked off the video at this point, and that's fine, but I apologize for the lack of uploads. At the moment, I don't really have the quiet environment that I used to go ahead and make videos. That should change come September, and uploads should be a lot more frequent. On top of that, I haven't had the amount of time that I used to have to make videos, so that also plays a massive factor into why my uploads are so slow. But yeah, that's really all I wanted to say. I genuinely appreciate the fuck out of all of you guys who sit here and stick with the channel. I've been doing this for how long now? Like 2 to 3 years, and I still see people who watched my videos back in 2024, 2023. I still see some of you guys sticking around the channel, and that truly means the world to me. But yeah, I appreciate everything, and I will see you guys later.